I just want to share with you some statistics on foster care, and then I'll get into a little bit of a video about me and my life and how maybe I can help you. About every 2 minutes in the United States, a child is put into foster care. If we pick the state of Arkansas alone, and we look at the statistics in 2017, 55% of the reason children went into foster care were because like 571 people in Arkansas, just the state of Arkansas alone, ended up in jail because of substance abuse. 45% were due to neglect. There's like small, there's a, like, I don't know if it's like 10 or 15% was due to just regular incarceration, and there's like 16 or 17% when, I don't know how the numbers break down perfectly or how they figure them, and it shows about 17% from actual child abuse. Statistically, 5 children will die today from child abuse. Statistically, 1 in 5 boys will be raped, molested in some form or fashion by the time they're 18 years old. By the time, 1 in 3 girls will be molested or raped by the time they're 18 years old. More than 58,000 children in foster care every year are placed in youth homes. Organizations that basically take care of children, regardless if they're ruly, they're not ruly, if the families, if they just don't have a family to go to. I was in one of those facilities 2 different times. It's called Maryville, and they're big giant buildings that house tons of foster children. They're not very pleasant to be in. In 1636, less than 30 years after the Jamestown founding, Benjamin Eaton became the nation's first foster child. So peaceful out here. %71 of women in foster care will end up pregnant by the age of 21. Only about 2.5% of foster children will graduate with a bachelor's degree, and only about 2% of children formally will actually graduate with a 4-year bachelor's before the age of 25, as to where the general population that don't have to live the foster life, 25% of them end up becoming a success rate, as opposed to the only 2.5% of foster children that end up getting a college degree. Last year there were about 13.1% of children in foster care adopted, and that number has increased by about 0.5% since 2011, when statistics showed that it was at 12.6% adoptive rate, and last year it was at 13.1%. On any given day, there are about 440,000 foster care children in the United States in this system. In 2016, statistics show that 690,000 children were in the foster care system. And it is not uncommon for 6% or more of children in the foster care system to spend more than 5 years in foster care. Good morning. I decided that I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about my life when I was in foster care, and about being a foster parent, and just the story and timeline of my life in general, where I where I came from to where I'm at, and I hope that's okay. I hope you'll stick around and you'll listen to the whole entire thing, and you'll really soak in what I have to say about this. You don't hear a lot of people talk out about the ins and outs of foster care and how hard it'll be and how hard being a foster parent is. It's not an easy job. There are foster parents that do it because they love and they want more care in the world, and they want to give something to a child that they never had before. But then there are foster parents, which there are quite a few of them, that do it for a paycheck. You get paid a certain amount of money for a regular child, and then for a special needs child, it's like twice the amount of money, if not a little bit more. I remember when I was going through, I think a regular child got somewhere around $450 a month check to the foster parent, and a special needs child got somewhere around $1,000. And those are just rough numbers. They may have changed by now. But there are a lot of people, which I've been in those families, that have had rough upbringings, and for them to come into foster care and get placed with a foster family that just does it for money, you're making the situation worse for them. They know you really don't care, and it makes it harder for them to trust the next family that they go to that does care. And that's the problem here. I was in a few foster homes that were what I call foster farms. They would take in as many children as they possibly could, and they would collect a check on every single one of those children. But they would live in another part of the house and almost be non-active with the children at all. And they were bringing boys and girls in and out of the house constantly. They were doing drugs in and out of the house constantly. Sometimes they wouldn't come home. Foster parents didn't know where they were. They would act concerned, but they wouldn't be concerned. And that's where that's where I'm coming to you from today, as a standpoint from a person that has lived that life, that knows what it's about. And one of the families I lived in, they had a refrigerator and a microwave upstairs in their bedroom, and they would go do shopping for everybody, and then they would take a lot of their food upstairs, so they would never have to come downstairs and even interact with us. Very rarely did we see them come down and get food out of the refrigerator. They would come right in the front door, go right up the stairs, and never be seen. I was in another family, it's kind of the same way, except they cared a little bit more, but you can tell they just didn't have what it took to be foster parents. They didn't have what it took to be the parents to the children they had already. And there was a lot of shady stuff going on in their personal life that the foster family didn't know about. Running businesses illegally, and the home that they owned, they showed paperwork for it saying that it was in their name, but in all reality it was not in their name. There was another man that owned it. I think it was his brother, and there was just a lot of uncertainty with this family. There was a lot of shady stuff going on, and there was nobody that did the research to track all this stuff down. And they had a bunch of kids that could come and go as they pleased. They just were soaking up the check in the system. And then there was another family that I was with, same thing. Just a bunch of kids in the house taking the checks. They were kind of really too young to have that many kids. They didn't even know how to raise a kid. But, in the foster care system, there's so many hundreds of thousands of children in foster care that what are you going to do? They start settling for the minimum. Anyhow, through this video, I hope that I can educate and enlighten you on what it takes to be a foster parent in my eyes. And if you ever thought about being a foster parent, maybe you could reach out to me and I could help you. Or if you ever got into a situation or a bind where you were having trouble trying to figure out how to relate or engage a child that is unruly, that almost seems like they don't want love. They do. There's a reason why they're doing what they're doing. They do. They've been hurt just like you've been hurt. And you have to remember it's just as hard for them as it is for you, because they don't know who they can trust. They don't know who's going to actually love them and be there for them. And they're probably tired of moving from home to home. But over this video series, I want to help encourage you to try to find out what it is that's causing a problem with them. I want to share my life with you, to explain some things with you from maybe a different standpoint, something that you haven't received before. And I just want to be an advocate for you, someone you can reach out to and get advice from. I've been in enough foster homes in my life to know what's going on and what it takes, for the most part, not everything. And I can tell you the ins and outs, the politics of foster care, and kind of what happened to me and why I ended up getting processed out of the system and I never actually found a family. I call my foster family my mother and my father, but there's a reason for that, and I'm going to share that with you. A lot of this was brought on by that new video that's out. It's called Instant Family. It's in theaters right now, and if you haven't seen the movie Instant Family with Mark Wahlberg, you should go see it. It's hilarious, for one. It is very emotional, and it's very eye-opening for foster parents and foster children. And with me being a product of the system and not letting it get the best of me and turning my life into what it is now, I want to share how I did it. I want to share how I can help you troubleshoot being a foster parent, and I just hope that I can be an advocate to you. Thank you, and please stay tuned for more videos in this series. I'm going to call it Fostering Our Youth. Fostering our youth. Thank you. God bless. I love you all.